Live. Okay, we are live. Hello, I'm Alan Levine, and I am wearing a tie. And we're here for another UdG Agora hangout. We're not here to talk about ties, but what's happening, Ken?
So I'm here at my office in Guadalajara, actually Zapopan, and I'll just remind people right away, post your questions or comments to Twitter to the UdG Agora hashtag.
Great, we have people watching the hashtag. And we're very excited because it's not just us. We have Gabriela join us. Hello.
Hola a todos, ¿cómo están? Yo estoy aquí en mi casa. I'm in my house. I'm not using a tie, but I'm so excited about this first one exercise and together.
Excellent. You do not need a tie. You definitely do not need a tie.
Yeah, that was what I understand.
Yes.
So,
and I totally know that like the meaning of that movie probably has no sense in Mexico. We were just being goofy, and we hope that came across very clearly.
Yes.
I was not serious. And then we also have Sara joining us. Hello, Sara. Hello. Hola.
Hola.
What's going on this week with you?
I don't know. I'm full of working and trying to get dilo and trying new things, and I'm trying to explain to my students the new things that I have to do, and that's fun.
That's great. And I really have to thank Sara because we were direct messaging about this, and she asked me, why can't I scroll in dilo on the iPad? And I was like, I didn't even test that out very much. I saw that it loaded. And on the iPad and dilo, you have to do this funny thing where you have to press your fingers and hold it to get the scroll activated. It's totally non-intuitive. So thank you for pointing it out. So I'm going to send it over to Terry to say hello.
Hello. I'm seeing lots of plans coming in over the last couple of weeks, and I'm trying to read them all, and I'm hoping that my group is also reading the other people's plans and getting ideas and asking questions. And I found a funny thing in the Translate because I can read a little, and I'm using Google Translate a little, and I was just saying to Ken, if someone uses the word see, if it doesn't translate, it might be if and it might be yes. So I'm running into situations where I don't know if you need something or yes you don't. So, but you know, we're getting there, and it's been I'm seeing lots of really great ideas.
That's true. I've been trying to rely on it a lot, and when I realize how badly sometimes it does, but hopefully we can.
Small chunks seem to make it better, right? Yeah.
Right.
But
and
it's
I just saw on YouTube that Sandra's watching, so let's say hello to Sandra.
Brian joined us.
Brian's here.
I'm getting around to Brian. Hello, Brian.
No, just...
Buenas tardes. Turn on your microphone, brother.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Hey. Much like Terry, I actually spent quite a bit of time yesterday trying to test my Spanish, reading a number of very good plans that have been posted in my group. And I'm very pleased with what I've seen. I think this is where the test of my Spanish is, because obviously you want to be able to give the feedback on certain ideas, and sometimes the nuances you want to make sure you actually are understanding before you give feedback. So hopefully we'll be able to see people giving each other feedback, so it's not all dependent on the facilitators and our, at least in my case, not such great Spanish. But it's great to see the activity. I'm very pleased with what the group's doing.
I think pretty much we manage, with all the variances and understanding and whatnot, we're able to hopefully communicate. Do you want to say hello, Tanis, or are you just busy tweeting?
Unmute your mic.
Hello, everybody. Hola, buenas tardes. And yes, I'm having a bit of a different week, so I haven't been too much in dilo, but I'm seeing some of the plans roll in. We have a space now in Barb and my group where you can put your plans, and again, the goal of putting them in dilo is that everybody can provide feedback, not just Barb and I. So there's a much bigger community of help that way. And yes, here I am in my house in the same spot I was last week, and good to be with everybody again, especially to have two of our students here with us in the hangout. It's really great.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, Nancy is not able to join us. She's dealing with some health issues, getting her mom situated with some surgery. But she wishes that she could be here. I tried something in my dilo group. I don't know if it really would work. I tried to say I'm not going to give any comments until 2 other people do. But I also did not want to leave people hanging. So, you know, we're kind of playing this by ear, but like Tennis says, the idea is not to, and what we tried to communicate in this silly video was that you're not writing them for us as the instructor of your group. They're for each other. So you can benefit from, I would say you can probably get much better feedback from your peers who know the context of your institution, your students, better than me from up here in North America.
Ken, did you want to translate that?
So, lo que estamos viendo del video realmente fue broma de Alan y yo, y no estamos tomando tan en serio que tienen que entregar todo en dilo. El punto que queremos decir es que lo que deben estar haciendo ahorita es trabajando en su actividades con sus alumnos y compartiendo entre su triad. Y no tanto de entregar a Alan o entregar a Tanis o entregar a Ken o a Terry. Es entregando entre ustedes. I hope that was okay.
Gracias. So I think the point is we want to like let Gabriela and Sara maybe take a turn sharing about their project. And so I will either let you guys decide or I will flip a coin. But I think this is a format that Nancy tried to suggest is very briefly, like maybe in 2 sentences, just give us an idea of the first thing that you're trying and just maybe some problems or questions or even some success that you may want to talk about. And then we're going to give everybody else here on the call a chance just to ask questions like we did in the Troika activity. Not to tell you what to do, but just to say like, oh, I didn't really understand that part where you asked your students to comment. And so asking clarifying questions gives you a chance to sort of respond. But we'll let this go however it happens. This is conversational. So do you want to go first, Gabriela?
Okay, I'm going to try my English, but
you can do Spanish.
Okay, I'm going to speak Spanish, and if you can, please, then traduce them, please. Thank you. Bueno, lo que yo empecé a hacer con mis grupos es ya comencé a dejar tareas a través de un grupo de Facebook que creé con ellos y también en la plataforma Moodle que usamos en la Universidad de Guadalajara. En estas primeras semanas estoy gratamente sorprendida porque los chicos, el 100% han entregado las tareas. Y antes no sucedía eso. Antes había quienes hasta el final de todo el semestre entregaban todas las tareas juntas, pero yo quise hacer este primer experimento conforme íbamos dejando los productos para que ellos fueran entregando las actividades. Entonces, lo que ellos están haciendo ahora son memes, son esquemas también con otras aplicaciones y también presentaciones en PowerPoint, toman la fotografía y después la suben a un grupo de Facebook. Lo que estoy haciendo un poco o cambiando un poco en este proyecto es, bueno, que al final ellos yo había propuesto un modelo de comunicación hecho por autoría propia, en equipo, en trabajo colaborativo entre todos. No obstante, voy a cambiar eso porque ahora más bien a ellos les gustaría hacer un video de las habilidades interculturales, porque también vemos la comunicación intercultural como último tema, y al final ellos quieren hacer un video. Entonces, yo voy a estar preguntando, la próxima semana ellos van a escoger un país del que quieran hablar, voy a estarlos monitoreando a través de varias preguntas conforme ellos me den su nombre de país. Yo voy a investigar de qué se trata qué tienen en las culturas de esos países, y después ellos van a estar respondiendo para que dentro del fenómeno de la comunicación y con los elementos que hemos visto en el semestre, ellos van a estarse nutriendo a través de esas respuestas, y así es como van a construir este video básicamente. Yo sí tengo preguntas. Bueno, primero quisiera preguntarles qué tan
Gaby,
loable es esto. Sí, Ken.
let me try to do a summary.
Sí, olvidé. Sí.
I can't do it as
olvidé.
well as Kike.
I heard Facebook and PowerPoint.
So I knew you got Facebook, and I knew you got Twitter and memes. It was memes, wasn't it, Gabby, that they were doing?
Yes.
Yeah. So she's so she's using Facebook and Moodle actually for her course. And what stood out to me at the beginning, the big thing was that because of this engagement that she's doing more with her students this way online, that she got 100% participation in the first homework assignments. And so that's a big thing. And I've noticed that as well in mine. So thumbs up for that completely. The other thing you were talking about is that they were sending out Twitter and other messages like that, like kind of short play like we would do in person in Guadalajara in our course. And then now you're aiming more to having them do something a little more deep in making a video. They're going to choose a country. I think I got that. And then you want to start asking them about what they're going to do with those videos and post questions to them about those videos. I think that was a close enough quick summary.
Yes.
Did I miss something, Gabby?
Sí, bueno, que nada más tengo un par de preguntas. Si está bien que, por ejemplo, a lo largo del semestre, para estar monitoreando todas estas actividades, yo pregunte a los chicos sobre el país que hayan escogido y del que quieran hacer un video de la interculturalidad, estarles preguntando acerca de los elementos que veamos de la comunicación para que ellos también vayan avanzando en este proceso. De todos modos, los productos ellos los siguen subiendo a Facebook, etcétera. Y bueno, primero preguntar si está bien ese monitoreo o qué me sugieren. Y la otra es de Storify, que ahorita les voy a preguntar.
So and for a lot of this, it's like putting the focus on the teacher sometimes too much. If you're doing all the questions to the students, she's asking, is it okay that I will be asking them questions about their choice of topic and how they're going to do this, or what would we suggest to kind of push the students forward? I think that's what she's aiming at.
Sí, porque al final ellos van a hacer un video con todo lo que hayan visto en el
Right, the end product is a video at the end of the semester. Anyone want to jump in there?
The video is what kind of parameters are on the video?
What kind of what?
Like
Rules.
what is the structure of the video you want them to produce? Is it like a report, a TV commercial, something
entry,
like,
or completely open?
A documentary, yeah.
Un reporte puede ser, es que está abierto, puede ser un reporte, puede ser un documental, puede ser incluso como un talk show.
And how long? Is there
3 minutos.
3-minute video?
3 minutos, sí.
It could be open, it could be like whatever they want to do with the 3 minutes to report on it.
Ajá.
Okay.
Incluso puede ser también sin habla, como de los 20, un poco así.
Oh, cool. Without talking. That'd be neat.
What was the reaction to your students when you said they were 100% response to getting this information?
Les gustó mucho porque sobre todo es un trabajo que es más divertido, que lo están haciendo ellos, y no todas las bases las hice yo, las estamos construyendo entre ellos y yo.
Right on.
Entonces la rúbrica no solamente está construida por mí, sino también por ellos, y les gustó mucho eso.
So they like it because they're defining what they're doing, and even the grading scheme they're coming up with together. And I always love this because you're engaging your students, and then they're going to pay more attention to your course than the other ones.
Sí, definitivamente.
And I'm selfish, so I love doing that.
Sí.
Cool.
I've been kind of curious, and please, other people jump in because my tie is cutting my circulation off. Obviously, the meme is, and I know Brian will maybe want to jump in, is we certainly gotten people interested in the idea of the meme, and the whole question is, how do you take something that makes it approachable and fun and then move it to sort of a different level about doing something besides something to get a reaction or to say something funny? Like, can you do a serious meme, or can you do a compare-contrast meme?
And I've been seeing some memes that are actually quite information-rich, at least based on what my understanding of Spanish is, particularly for one group that's doing a public health course. But yeah, Alan, your point's well taken, and all I can really do is amplify it. I mean, I think the main idea, with the way we framed it when we were all together in Guadalajara, is it's a great technique for breaking the ice, getting people started, getting attention to move hopefully to something else. So hopefully we will see that in the groups as well.
Okay.
Anything else you want? You want? How is this working for you, Gabriela, in terms of the Agora structure? And we're not looking for praise, like in terms of the communication, the triad, the dilo. Too much, too little.
Sí, nosotros nos reunimos cada 8 días, los jueves, y hemos estado compartiendo cosas como aplicaciones, otras aplicaciones, y también ejercicios que han estado haciendo los estudiantes. Incluso Adriana Castañeda, que también está en mi triada, ella ya presentó un nuevo reto. Sus estudiantes hicieron títeres y la asignatura que ella tiene es investigación. Entonces, todo lo teórico, los estudiantes lo presentaron en títeres, en puppets. Entonces, eso fue muy divertido para los estudiantes. Y por otra parte, Jorge Hernández, que también estamos en la misma triada, tenemos una asignatura parecida que es taller de redacción. Yo tengo de redacción y él tiene comunicación oral y escrita, y también ha estado implementando ejercicios. Nosotros nos comunicamos cada 8 días, tenemos reunión y hacemos intercambio de lo que hacemos en nuestro salón. Y bueno, para subir a Dilo vamos a utilizar Storyfy.
Cool.
Cool.
Cool. Give me the.
Are we wearing you out, Ken?
What did
you wore me out. You wore me out. Go. Summarize that again, Gabby. I just got distracted by someone at the door here.
Okay.
Storify.
I know you're using Storify.
Yeah.
They got that.
So, ¿lo repito again en español? Para
por favor.
Porque estabas distraído, ¿verdad?
Déjame enfocar esta vez.
Sí,
que entró un alumno.
Sí, está bien. Bueno, que nuestra triada se reúne cada 8 días, los jueves, y ahí compartimos nuevos ejercicios que hacemos con nuestros estudiantes. Adriana Castañeda ya hizo en su asignatura de investigación, como es muy teórica, ella, bueno, sus estudiantes presentaron toda la información, pero con títeres. Y con Jorge Hernández, que también forma parte de la triada, bueno, también hemos compartido varios ejercicios que han estado haciendo sus estudiantes, y tenemos una asignatura parecida. Yo taller de redacción y él comunicación oral y escrita, y nos reunimos todos los jueves. Yo voy a usar Storyfy, ellos también están pensando en otras plataformas, y usamos Teacher Kit o Adisho. Yo uso Adisho para llevar un control de las rúbricas y de todos los estudiantes, y es más fácil porque también se obtiene la evaluación pues al final de una manera muy, muy concreta.
Okay, so the real quick summary there is they're actually meeting together every Thursday, the full triad, which I think is interesting and important, because I know there's triads that are having issues all meeting together. So I think because Gabby's here, it's obvious that she's engaged. So the other thing that she's talking about is all three of them are going. It sounds like Gabby's a little farther ahead of the curve getting her students involved, and the other ones are just starting to get going on bringing their students in. Is that fair, Gabby?
I'm wondering, and Gabby, ¿puedes compartir la liga de la plataforma que estaba hablando de rúbricas, para compartir rúbricas o teacher?
Bueno,
¿cómo se llama?
Esa no, Teacher Kit.
Teacher Kit.
Que es más bien una aplicación.
Okay.
Es una aplicación.
¿Es gratis?
Sí, es gratuita.
Okay.
And I was going to jump on that too, Tanis. Is that's one thing we could use? Like maybe there's a Dilo. That's one place we could be using a suggestion of tools we're using.
Sí, lo voy a subir. Ahí lo voy a compartir en Dilo. I'm going to share it in Dilo.
Perfect. Okay, voy a compartir por Twitter esta aplicación también.
Excellent.
There is like a hidden corner of Dilo to do that, but there's too many corners in Dilo. And I want to say, I know many people are trying things with Twitter, and I've been hoping maybe by next week to sort of write up a little studio on things you can do besides just having the tweets go and disappear.
Yeah.
So explain how to do the Twitter tag spreadsheet where you archive them like we did. Using something like Storify, which I know people are doing, but maybe people don't know all the things you can do in Storify. And Tagboard, and there's a couple other things you can do to be able to have more than just a string of tweets that disappear. There's a couple tools that you can use to sort of help curate them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Ken's right. Thank you, Gabriella. We'll come back. Don't be quiet. Don't mute your microphone because it's Sarah's turn, and you'll have to unmute your microphone, Sarah. But I like the angle now because we can see the rest of your triad. So. Over to you, Sarah.
Okay. Hola a todos.
Jose is here.
Estoy aquí con mi criada, mis compañeros, Julio y Marlon, quisieron también apoyarme en esto y hemos hecho un muy buen equipo. Nosotros trabajamos en el área de filosofía, entonces es el área que compartimos y encontramos áreas que van a ser el mismo trabajo. Por ejemplo, hay una aplicación, un espacio en internet que se llama Tiki para hacer una timeline, una línea del tiempo, porque compartimos algunos puntos de los programas. Ellos son de filosofía en general y yo de filosofía del derecho, así que eso lo podemos empatar. Ken?
So they're all working in the area of philosophy. I know that they're in general philosophy, and you're in legal philosophy, right, Sarah?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. Keep going.
Okay. Entonces nosotros tenemos ya planeado hacer esa línea de tiempo. Yo les he compartido que trabajo con Edmodo. Nosotros no tenemos Moodle en la escuela, entonces yo lo he incorporado para mis clases. Hasta ahora sigo experimentando, pero me ha ido bien. También otro punto que compartimos es hacer imágenes, los memes, y nos ha resultado muy bien porque hay más participación de los alumnos, entre pares ellos ven, tiene un significado para ellos lo que vemos en clase.
So they're working using timelines, and I have a question there for Sarah of exactly what do you mean by using timelines? Is that you doing them or the students doing them? And then I think I got the answer at the end for my question of whether you're generating memes for them to use or the students are generating the memes, but it sounds like students are generating memes to get them engaged.
Sí.
Okay. Y sobre las líneas de tiempo, realmente no entiendo qué es.
Como tenemos que hablar de ciertas épocas en la historia, decidimos que podemos hablar, por ejemplo, Sócrates, Platón, Aristóteles, que es un área que compartimos, pero que puedan ubicarlo en una línea de tiempo para que se...
So they're doing history timelines.
Yes.
I wanted to say someone in my group is doing something timeline related to. I think it's sort of like a timeline of graphic design and posters. And so I will repeat this. There's a number of really good web-based timeline tools. There's one called Dippity, and there's there's like 3 others where your students can actually build like a web-based timeline that has like it can have a YouTube clip or images, and so they can actually build somewhat of an interactive timeline if you want to be able to have them do that as a web-based thing.
Adelante, Sarah.
Nosotros utilizamos Tiki como línea de tiempo, que es la aplicación.
¿Cómo, Sara, perdón, la puedes deletrear, por favor?
Sí.
T-I-K-I-T-O-K-I.
Sí,
Tiki-Toki. Ok, gracias.
Pero si Alan sugería otras, no entendimos cuáles podrían ser.
Yeah, Alan's going to probably share some tools, some timeline tools later. I don't think he has them right at on the tip of his tongue right now, but he knows.
I'll find the thread in dilo where I respond. Oh no, you can't read my group's dilo,
Right.
so I will post that publicly.
We'll leave that pending. I added it to our pending list.
Yes.
Adelante, Sarah.
Y nosotros tenemos algunas preguntas.
Okay, they got some questions.
Por ejemplo, yo intenté hacer un sondeo para ver si mis alumnos utilizan redes sociales. Yo utilizo normalmente Twitter, pero ellos no utilizan Twitter. Entonces no sabemos si sería demasiado Edmodo y Facebook o sería como ya fuera del propósito de implementar los retos.
Right. So they were trying to take the pulse of their students and see which social networks they're using, and she uses Twitter, but the students just aren't using Twitter, and I understand that it's normal here actually. And she was wondering if it's going to get just too noisy and too much to use Edmodo and a group like in Facebook, and maybe the danger of throwing too many tools at them. Any comments on that?
That's a good point. I'd like to hear, and we want to also welcome Jose Ramon, who joined us. Maybe just some sense about how your students are reacting to these new things that you are giving to them.
Sarah,
I think that's for you.
Sí, he tenido buena respuesta, cada vez están participando más. También veo que, por ejemplo, en mi clase es lunes, martes y miércoles. Por ejemplo, jueves, viernes, ellos están mandando información, compartiendo comentarios, siempre participando en el grupo, y creo que eso es muy bueno porque incentiva también que ellos estén como constantemente en el aprendizaje.
Great. So she says it seems to be going well, that she has a Monday, Wednesday, Friday type class. I love those. We don't do those anymore here. And then she's noticing that they're still posting on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so they're just like dialed into the course the whole week, which is awesome.
That's really good feedback. Anybody else have questions that they may want to ask Sarah?
I was wondering about for yourself to try to keep track of the participation and who's doing what and where when you're experimenting with all the different tools.
Yeah, sí está poniendo ruidoso para ustedes como maestros tener tantas herramientas.
A veces.
Menos, porque por ejemplo, mis alumnos que son abogados tienen como más recursos de acceder a plataformas, traer su tableta, etcétera. Pero los alumnos que componen mis compañeros que son de filosofía casi no las utilizan.
Okay, so her students are legal students, lawyers, so they tend to have more access to internet resources, whereas the general philosophy students don't necessarily have as much tools for access. So that's creating more problem for them.
Tanis, you had a question from the Twitterami?
Yes, I do have a question from Twitter. So there was a very good question, just a general question about challenges from Eduardo. And his question was, is it possible that, let me grab it here so I don't mess it up here. Is it possible that one project could accomplish the 2 or 3 challenges? And that actually came up also when we were doing the face-to-face, because yes, it can. Some people are thinking about a project that is the whole course, and there's several different steps. So you might start, the goal might be, the why of it might be to have more student engagement. So if that is the why, then you may start with a meme or meme, and then you might move on to a Twitter chat, and then you might move on to something else. And if those 3 small challenges accomplish your why, then that effectively is implementing 3 challenges. In fact, it's kind of nice sometimes when it does that, because then instead of having individual isolated things, you actually have something that creates a whole. I personally think that's quite a nice idea. And it breaks it up into smaller, more manageable pieces. Maybe a translation of that.
I'll add as well, Tanis, we had one of my group come up where they wanted to all work together with the same group of students.
Yeah,
And we
yeah,
also said,
that's right.
sure, that's
Yeah.
fine. So.
Yeah, yeah, you have to make it work for you. So that's really the end of the day. It's not for us.
Yeah, and like the challenge is sort of like at the activity, lesson, objective level, and rather than trying to doing a whole course and trying to evaluate would be complex. And so I would say you definitely want to try to pick multiple maybe activities within. So to me, that definitely works. I know we want to welcome Jose. I don't know. Can you hear us, Jose? Okay. And I don't know if you understand my English, so maybe Ken can sort of explain what we're doing.
Oh, everything's fine.
Okay. Okay. I don't want to assume, but we've asked people to give like a really short synopsis about a summary of what you've been trying so far, and maybe give us some questions or concerns or things that you might want feedback on with your project.
Bueno, yo apenas inicié prácticamente con el plan. Sí estoy algo atrasado porque he tenido un poco de trabajo aquí. Soy encargado también del laboratorio de cómputo de mi escuela y sí tengo algo pues de trabajo. Entonces, apenas inicié con el plan de el plan para hacer una implementación, pues. Estoy planeando un GIF para explicar algunos tópicos de matemáticas. Mi materia es Matemáticas y Ciencia 1. Y pues aquí les estoy tratando de dar otro enfoque a los muchachos porque realmente no están muy acostumbrados, sobre todo a compartir opiniones en redes sociales, pero educativas, pues, porque ellos están muy acostumbrados a dar su opinión, pero en otras cuestiones, no sé, es lo que les decía, entran y ven una foto y se ríen, o no sé, un comentario chusco de otro compañero, pero siempre relacionado como a cuestiones pues sociales y de sus compañeros ahí, a ver qué ven, qué hacen, pero no en cuestiones educativas. Y sí, digamos, la red social que más usan ellos es Facebook, y ahí es donde voy a interactuar con ellos, haciendo que compartan sus trabajos que hagan con este GIF, y aparte den su retroalimentación, y también den pues una calificación para, digamos, saber ellos cuál piensan que es el mejor de todos.
Okay. Let me translate that quickly, Jose Ramon. So he's kind of just really getting started. He's been really busy setting up the lab and that, and it's the math class. What was it again, Jose Ramon? Which class is it?
Math and Science 1.
Math and Science 1. And so the struggle he's having is the students are used to using social media, but just for goofing off. And the concept of sharing and being open about something weird like education and learning is hard for them to grasp. So he's hoping getting them to do animated GIFs about the course will kind of break the ice on that concept of, and I know Brian says this is probably something where Brian could jump in there, but that's basically what he said right here. And Brian probably understood all that.
You have such a high opinion of my Spanish. No, I would only amplify what you said. I actually have been surprised. Half of the plans I have reviewed so far actually have animated GIFs for explaining concepts as their core idea. I'm pleasantly surprised to see so many people fixating on that. And actually, for me, one of the great pieces of learning in Guadalajara was I kind of initially thought that the animated GIF was for fun, ice-breaking, getting people together, but I've learned so much over the last couple months about how they can be used to explain concepts. So I'm very hopeful to maybe see the animated GIF as an educational expression point and a tool emerge from some of these projects. And if I'm understanding the plans correctly, I expect to see some. So I think it's an interesting thing that's changed how I see that form of media. I'm sorry I can't say that in Spanish. My brain is not working well enough today.
All right, I think Jose Ramon got all that. His English is fine, understanding.
Yeah, and there's, I mean, much in math where you know you can deal with motion and things that people observe. I remember some really great, well, his physics teacher I remember, but he had his students go out to like amusement parks and measure the timing of roller coasters to understand acceleration and velocity. I mean, and there's so many mathematical things in our everyday world that the gift to me, again, like what Brian was saying, was the ability to understand a process or movement and being able to see it again and again and maybe at a different speed. So I showed an animated GIF in my workshop of a hummingbird because you can't really see a hummingbird because its wings move too fast. But in a repeated video, you can slow it down to try to conceptualize what you think is happening and then maybe try to apply the mathematical principles to explain it.
I saw a really nice one of weather patterns when we were having all that turmoil recently, and I thought highly educational.
I was sharing my experience in Guadalajara with a professor of law, Derecho, here in Kamloops, and I was just showing her some of the work people are doing with the animated GIFs. And I said, well, this probably wouldn't work for law, but just, I thought it was interesting. And she was actually like, no, there's actually very many concepts in law, legal education, where it's like a principle or a simple theorem of 3 or 4 statements. So even text being repeated 3 or 4 times, or 3 or 4 sequences of short text repeated over and over again, is almost like flashcards in English. I don't know how to say that in Spanish, but that concept of so it doesn't necessarily even have to be visual to be effective, which surprised me. I'd be interested to see if other people do that.
I saw Sarah was cheering.
Yeah, Sarah's nodding there. Do you got something to add, Sarah? You're mute. She's muted, though. Sara, ¿quieres agregar algo ahí?
Que sí, efectivamente, por ejemplo, a mí me ha servido para cuestiones de conceptos que hay que repetir y repetir y repetir y repetir y repetir.
Mm-hmm.
Y sí he intentado hacer GIF con texto. Y lawyers. Liars.
And there's things you can do. I mean, because I would assume law has a lot to do with interpretation, and so you could look at a scene, as probably happens when in court when you have to deal with how people saw and remember events that happened, and it's not as clear often as to how you can interpret a series of events. So you could possibly play with a situation with what is on the GIF is something that is perhaps ambiguous as to what happened or whether it was legal or whether it was right or not.
Sí, sobre todo eso, la parte de interpretar o los conceptos que hay que ver en derecho, porque en derecho son cosas no tangibles, y entonces, ¿cómo lo explicamos? Sí es muy útil.
Okay.
And I also know when I teach media courses, when we teach students to do an animated GIF from a movie scene, it's an interesting process because you take something that's maybe 5 minutes and you have to reduce it to about maybe 30 frames, maybe 30 seconds, and then you reduce it again. And so this process of zeroing in on what's important, to me, is a really good conceptual exercise as to how you can simplify and find the most important elements in something that was time-based.
I have a question, actually. I'm wondering whether there might be other people who are listening, who want to jump in and ask a question by voice. If there's a link that I should share, it looks like we probably have space for people, right? In case their question is more than 140 characters.
Well, if you send the Hangout link, anybody on Twitter that sees it will join. So
I got a question
great.
directly to me.
Okay.
Someone was saying, I believe it's Gerardo Perales was saying that Gabby mentioned teacher crit, and she kept mentioning this other tool. He didn't know what it was. Dilo. So I did answer him that it's our discourse space for the course. So there's random people that aren't in our course that are watching, I guess.
Yeah, it's fine, Tanis, if you want to send the Hangout link. I will let you know, I've done this in courses, and strange people in foreign countries have come in with their shirts off. That was DS Winter 6, though. That's where weird things happen. While you're maybe thinking about whether that's wise to do, I thought maybe we could talk about some of the timing, because people may be concerned because there's 8 weeks left of the online part, but they have until December, right, to do all this work.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think we're in week 3 right now, so there's 5 weeks. But yes, it doesn't. I mean, we wanted to give them a bit of time for also to have some reflection between October and December when we meet again, and we are going to be really just creating that common artifact. So I think that as much as possible, I think it would be good if people tried to time their implementations for the 8-week period that we have, because that's when our attention and our focus really will be. It's the commitment. And but of course, if it's best that you do your implementation in November because of the timing of your course, well, of course. I mean, at the end of the day, this has to work for you. But the idea of having you only have 8 weeks online was to have some intention about where to try things, just to get you trying, but also having space and time to reflect before we come back in December. Otherwise, it's a lot. You're teaching at the same time, so that was the idea.
Y experimentando, trying to get all together. So.
And we were having a discussion in our group where we discuss things for us planning the project, and I was thinking there might be a pressure what if you try something and it really doesn't go well? And so what if your students do terrible gifts or horrible movies? That is not necessarily a bad thing for your project, because the whole idea is for you to try something and then reflect upon what worked and then try to iterate or try to figure out what to do to make it better. So I would like people to understand that their students, if their students produce, if it doesn't work, it's not a failure.
Yeah.
I mean, chime in if you think differently.
And does Jose Ramon want to continue? Because I cut him off and then we all jumped on him. No?
I want to say hello. Alejandro is with a group in CUAAD, and so I want to thank you for all the images that your students are tweeting. I don't know what you're doing, but it's fantastic.
Awkward silence.
Okay, we can take a breath.
I think what Alan was saying was really important. I can't remember. Someone mentioned yesterday how she can get across the fact to her students that the trying is what's important, and if you get it wrong, it's okay. And I linked her these videos I did with my student on the first day of class. I had them stand on the chair and shout out and piss off the other teachers that it's okay to fail. And that's my big mantra for my students. And it's important for me, too, and for you as teachers to try something. And if it doesn't work, well, write about it and share it and think about why did it not work. Maybe it was the circumstances, and share that with your colleagues. I think it's just as valid to try something and not have it work as to everything's going to work out. Because I think if you aim for everything working out, you're probably not going to do anything because you're scared and you get paralyzed.
That's where the student feedback is going to be important too, right? Like, not just I liked it, I didn't like it, but what did they learn, how did they learn, what did they get out of it, and that will help with the iterations of making it a better project if it didn't go quite as well as planned.
Yeah, and I think the idea with doing new things with technology is that, you know, there's always that fear of breaking something, or you know, even when we go into a room and we need to use the projector, and sometimes the projector doesn't work because the bulb isn't working or something. I mean, we as teachers have to deal with this all the time, and in a way, this isn't that much different. It's just getting comfortable with, okay, it happened this way, now how do I adjust? And maybe sometimes the failure actually leads to better teaching and better learning, because you have to change something or adjust and be flexible. So I think that's important to remember too. It's we all sort of have to deal with that reality, and this isn't a place for judging people on, oh, 100% of my students thought that this was an amazing activity and it was so much fun. I mean, part of this is also, well, I had a really good reason for doing this activity, and 60% of students really enjoyed it, but 40% thought it was really, really hard. Well, that's actually probably a good thing, right?
And that's normal.
It's not all of teaching is entertainment. It's also the part that's learning, but also trying new things for the sake of having fun isn't bad either, I don't think. It just depends on why. Why are you doing it?
And I think that's related to what Gabby said, where the students weren't used to this. And a lot of it's going to be that they're not used to this style of learning, and they have a bad reaction, not because it's bad, but it's just not what they're used to doing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm wondering, Ken, if you could just translate that a little bit too, because it does seem to be a question that comes up, this idea of success, and, you know, perhaps just highlighting that success doesn't mean that, you know, if 40% of your students didn't like the activity, that's a problem, right?
Pues resumen de los últimos 5 minutos. Realmente lo que queremos meter aquí, y a ver si entiende Gabriel y está de acuerdo y los otros, que no es necesario tener un éxito en lo que están planeando con sus alumnos. En mi opinión personal, si solamente quieres un éxito, no vas a hacer nada, porque vas a tener miedo o paralizado de hacer algo. Tenemos que intentar, y la verdad, a lo mejor 60% de sus alumnos le gustó la actividad, pero los otros como, porque no le gustó, ¿qué onda que estamos haciendo memes y eso no es educación? O no están acostumbrados a ese estilo de educación. No todo va a salir perfecto, y lo importante aquí es que están intentando algo nuevo basado en una idea que tienen para sus cursos, fundamentado en pedagogía, y documentar lo que pasó, para mí documentar sus intenciones y luego documentar la experiencia de tu punto de vista como maestro, pero también recolectando pues opiniones y encuestas a sus alumnos de cómo les sintieron durante la actividad. I hope I don't have to translate myself back.
Yo quiero agregar algo. I want to share something. Por ejemplo, con otro grupo que estoy implementando algo parecido, ellos no han tenido la misma reacción, y muchos de ellos tampoco tenían Twitter. Entonces, no les gusta mucho entregar un producto de manera electrónica y prefieren entregármelo físicamente. Y la reacción, la dinámica del grupo ha sido muy distinta.
Yeah.
Pero yo también fui muy flexible en eso. Les dije, bueno, ok, no quieres tener una cuenta en Twitter, incluso uno no tenía tampoco Facebook, y está prefiriendo también entregar productos de manera física. Que creo que pues sirve, ¿no? La dinámica de los grupos no va a ser nunca igual. Con algunos funciona y con otros no, y también pues eso es admisible.
So Gabby's basically saying that one group it was received really well, and then the other one was just like, hey, wait a minute, I want my normal hand in a piece of paper, physical, regular style learning. And it's true. I have sometimes 3 groups at the same course, and one group is just completely different. And as soon as you turn everything on its head and you're not doing student or teacher-based learning, every classroom is going to be different. And that's awesome, but it's freaky for us as well, and it's freaky for the students. Yeah, that's a good thing to share.
I have a somewhat of a tangential question for Sara. She's been very active in the daily try. I wonder what the motivation is. You were number 1 for a while, but now she's number 2.
Oh.
Just having fun. Daily try es just fun. Es verdaderamente divertidísimo hacerlo. Yo quería compartir algo que menciona también Gabriela, porque yo implementé por ejemplo, Edmodo, que tuve que iniciar 17 de agosto, y entonces yo inicié desde el principio, van a descargar esta plataforma, como dando indicaciones generales, pero en el transcurso me doy cuenta que para el siguiente semestre yo podría hacer una lista de las aplicaciones o los programas, como ustedes hicieron con nosotros, que vamos a tomar en el curso, que necesitamos, para que desde el principio las tengan.
Mm-hmm. So she's using Edmodo for a course, and she's kind of wondering, now that you're collecting, I guess, all of the tools that we're using and try to share that with your students at the beginning in January?
Sí, como hacer una lista de, como en la planeación desde el primer día, darles el programa, esto es lo que...
Right. To have, because maybe it's, maybe if, see if I'm understanding it completely, it's like, this semester it's kind of like on the fly and you're applying things as you're seeing it, and then that next semester it'll all be pre-planned, which I doubt, because I always think that too, but then I just find some new stuff and then I don't use the old stuff. So I don't know what if someone wants to jump in on that.
I would say, though, you know, this is the first time through for so many things.
Yeah.
And when you start getting into your second and third repeats, I've seen it at places where the blogging has happened. All of a sudden, your students are going to be going to their other teachers, and they're going to be saying, we're doing this in Gabriela's class.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we doing this way in your class? It will happen.
Yes, and you'll get pushback from other teachers.
Yeah.
It'll happen. Yeah.
Y
Sí,
otra cosa que yo había, que vi cuando estaba en Face to Face, en Agora, en aquel 20 de julio, fue que yo intenté, incluso le comenté a Terry que quería hacer un hashtag para Twitter, y ahí fue cuando me di cuenta que mis alumnos no están en Twitter, so no funcionó.
Yeah, that she was trying to push the Twitter thing, and then she just realized nobody's there.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I mean, find a different platform. My students, I moved from our Blackboard to Facebook because I asked students, why aren't you asking questions in Blackboard? They said, well, because nobody's going to hear them because nobody logs in. Oh, well then, okay, let's go find something else. So, and I wrote a blog post about this. I go where my students are, and they were all on Facebook, so I went to Facebook. And I don't do that anymore. I'm trying to push them back towards Twitter, but go where they are. You want to engage your students.
Sí. So, ahora tengo que usar Facebook. No sé cómo todavía, pero en eso estoy.
Podemos hablar sobre eso. Yo tengo mucha experiencia trabajando con mis alumnos en Facebook.
Sí, gracias, porque no tengo idea. Por eso preguntaba si Edmodo sería mucho, además de Facebook, o dejo Edmodo, o trabajo de manera paralela y algunas
Right. So that gets back to our question of not using too many tools. I think it's okay to use Edmodo or Moodle or whatever your platform is for like handing in the homework, and then use Facebook or Twitter or whatever your other tool is for your communication medium of the day-to-day things. That's the way I used Facebook. Facebook wasn't for handing stuff in, or because Facebook's interface is all just this wall and you can't really scroll it back easily. Although the search works well in groups. I learned that and I showed my students. But Facebook for me was just I'm at lunch and I saw a cool article that has something to do with our class and I linked it and I noticed that my students saw it right away and someone's commenting on it. That's how I use Facebook.
Sí, sí que sí. Sobre eso trataré de buscar más información y bueno, seguir apoyándome en ustedes.
Yo quiero comentarte algo, Sara. En Facebook, bueno, vas a crear un grupo para compartir y si tus estudiantes es lo que más les gusta, a ellos les va a encantar. Seguramente todos van a hacer la tarea, incluso va a haber más interacción entre ellos. Pero trata de no contestar tan rápido. Por ejemplo, si postean un meme, trata que alguien más ponga un comentario antes de que tú le pongas me gusta o que tú pongas algún comentario. Pero también comenta algo pasado algún tiempo para que ellos vean que tú también estás tomando en cuenta sus comentarios. Una chica pues agradeció mucho que yo haya, por ejemplo, comentado algo o dicho algún me gusta, porque para ella fue una retroalimentación y me dijo, bueno, me di cuenta que realmente te estabas fijando que yo estaba haciendo la tarea y que estaba haciendo las cosas, pero sí primero deja un tiempo para que entre ellos interactúen un poco y va a ser muy buena herramienta.
Quickly translate that, and we're getting close to the limit here. So Gabby's basically saying it, and actually Jose Ramon mentioned this, of students aren't used to using Facebook for educational stuff. You got to be really careful as a teacher how you use it. The like button's really important, and the students are sitting there waiting for you to hit the like button, and so even just a quick like is like it's feedback to them, and it makes them want to be engaged more. One thing is I found, be very careful on commenting though, because as soon as the teacher comments, it like throws a wet blanket off on the conversation. So, and Gabby mentioned that you got to be careful that you don't just jump in and comment right away, because then nobody else talks.
Excellent points, and I just want to thank everybody for joining us. I think this made our Hangouts much better by having you all participate. If you can help recruit more people, I know Alejandro is watching, so I'm putting my finger on you, Alejandro, next week maybe to join us on the Hangout. So the finger's coming your way. And then I also want to say, he probably doesn't want me to say this, but today happens to be Brian's birthday. And so I'm not going to ask us, we already sang Las Manitas for his son, so I'm not going to ask us to sing, but I think if everybody can create a GIF or a meme for Brian today, that would be a nice gift. So he hates me saying that stuff, but happy birthday, brother.
Happy birthday, buddy.
I thought I was going to get through the day.
¡Feliz cumpleaños!
Feliz cumpleaños, Brian.
Gracias a todos. Buenas tardes.
Thank you, everybody, and
Muchas gracias.
we'll be back next week. And thanks, everybody, for joining us. I'm going to be stopping the broadcast like right now.